Hi everyone, and welcome to the next video in Walking the Tyne series. And it's a beautiful northeastern day, as you can see, but I'm really excited to continue this trip from St. Peter's to the Quayside and show you a little bit of the history along the way. So let's go. So as we come up from St. Peter's Basin, just down this road, we get to this point here, and as you can see, there is another acorn showing us the route of where to go. However, we won't be following that acorn today, but I am just going to give you a little bit of information. So all the way up this hill, where those traffic lights are, to the left of that, that'll take you all the way to Biker, the bottom end of Biker, near the Sainsbury's and near the big metro bridge. If you go to the right of those lights, that takes you back along Walker towards Wallsend, along the Acorn Hadrian's Wall route. However, a lot of people like to go the scenic route, which is along the river, and that's where you would go along St. Peter's and just travel down this road instead of following the little acorn, and you would walk the way I walked the other day, past all the boats and along the edge and side of the river. So another thing that's at this hill, so just up past where that big lorry is, as you can see driving up, to the left of that there's a brewery. I've been in once, I believe, and it was really nice. So I'll give you a little bit of footage of that. I'm not going to walk up the hill again and kind of explain that. So yeah, so as we can see, the acorn says go up the hill, which actually takes you onto the trail. However, no one likes to go the trail because they want to go the scenic route. So looking down the hill, we're going to go to the river's edge and have a look. And as you can see here, there is a army recruitment base as well, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And behind that, there is a lot of history, a lot of history as we get down onto the far end of the Quayside. So let's go have a look to see what we can see at the river. Hi, so just on the other side of the river there's a little structure, and this used to be a sign that used to say swinging area, centre 25 feet, north of something, 500-foot diameter, and here's a picture of it. And it used to allow ships to know that they could do a big massive turn in the river at this location. So down here, just on this side of the Army Recruitment Centre, you can see there's some rail tracks, and we're going to see more of these soon when we go on the other side of this building, and then I'll tell you why they're there and give you some a little bit of a history treat. But we'll do a deep dive video on this area in the future, as we are just doing a walk today. But while I'm here, I may as well give you that little bit of history. So it's pretty cool to see, as those rails are extremely old. So just met a guy and he's a fan of the channel, so had a little chin wag, and we're going to continue walking. So this is the side of the recruitment centre, and this leads on to the old was. So I'll show you all around that area, because there's not much left that you can see apart from kind of some train tracks in the concrete. So this area here, where all these train tracks are, there's a lot of them, but they start splitting out into loads, and then all that area that's fenced off there as well was where the old Spillers Mill used to be, which I can't remember the time frame it was knocked down. So let me gather that information, and let's give you a little bit of history on this walk. So the business that established the mill originated in 1829 and then expanded throughout England and Wales, with its flour mill on the River Tyne playing a key role in the area's industrial history. So Spillers Tyne Mill was completed in 1938 and was then the tallest flour mill building in the world. Spillers had come to Newcastle from Bridgewater in 1896 when they acquired Dodson's Phoenix Mill in the close, and the Tyne Mill replaced this older complex. There were two main buildings: the silo, designed to hold 34,000 tons of grain, and the flour mill, which also contained a warehouse and animal food mill. To serve it, the deep water berth was improved and the rail networks extended along the quayside. The rail tracks can still be seen on the concrete roads. Alright, we're back. Hope you enjoyed that little bit of history. And we've got some people cutting up some trees here with a boat. So we've been down here before. If you remember, if you ever watched the Ousburn walking part 1, this is where we started, down next to the bike shack, and that is also the entrance to the Ousburn River, which then leads up inland. But we're going to go past that today, and if you want to see what it's like walking up the Ousburn River, I've got 2 long videos which explore that. Really nice walk, and it's beautiful, and I'm pretty sure the weather was better than today. But soon we'll be getting one of the best views on the River Tyne that anyone has ever seen. So if you ever come to the River Tyne and you want to get a really good photo opportunity, I'll show you just the place for that. So if you remember, we went down past the Tyne bar last time in the Ousburn walk, but today we're going to be heading down here. I can't remember what this building was here, but there is a YouTube video online of people taking a tour down inside, and the gate is just here. So let's go have a quick look. I'll see if I can find the video and I'll share it, because it's got a little bit of history. The Ousburn warehouse. Interesting. I'll see if I can link the video with the history to that. So just around this corner is one of my favourite little attractions that I always like to point out to people when I'm walking past, especially if they're unaware, and that is the tiger on the Tyne. You might be thinking, Matt, what the hell are you talking about? Tiger on the Tyne? Well, I'm talking about this. It is a massive tiger. Obviously it's not a real tiger, but it's a really big tiger and great for a photo opportunity, I guess. But whoever owns that is crazy, but it's really cool. So let's just have another look. When I first seen it, I was like, bloody hell, I was not expecting that. Alright, so we're walking down onto the top end of the quayside now. We're on the actual quayside walkway, which will take us all the way through the bottom end of Newcastle Quayside, and where we're going to end the video. But before we do that, there is a little bit of history that I want to show you, which is kind of just off the beaten track from the quayside path, but we're almost at the section of the Tyne where you get the best photographs, and it's just around this corner. But you can see what view you know I'm talking about. On the other side of the Tyne there, we've got the old mill, the Baltic, and then obviously the Newcastle bridges. Alright, as you can see, it's coming into frame. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of my face and show you a good view. The quayside is so quiet when it's raining. There's literally no one around. It's usually hustling, bustling and really busy. It's just after this. Usually around this lamppost here, and you'll get a perfect shot straight down the Tyne. So there's a lot going on in the background of that picture. There's some big cranes as they're doing some new builds of some flats and whatnot. But yeah, so in a moment we're about to take a turn off this river and head up the hill to show you something a little bit special. Alright, we're going to curve off to the right here and head up the hill a little bit. But to say of my fitness, I'm going to absolutely die walking up these stairs, but I'm going to do it for you guys. Where we're heading is up past there. That Keelman's Hospital is a very old building. It's really sad to see it in the state that it's in. Just imagine what they could do with it. I don't know if it's occupied or not, but if they could turn that into like a museum, that would be amazing. There's a lot of history around here. I remember that was in use a long time ago, before it got set on fire and burnt down. And I always dreamt, I was like, if I was to open a pub, I would open it there, and then someone set it alight. Alright, so what I came off the quayside to show you is just in these trees over there, and it's some very old Newcastle history. Now, there is a lot of trees, so I don't know how much I'm going to see, but we're going to give it a shot anyways. That's the Old Manners metro station. Not metro station, train station. So this is what I wanted to show you. It's an old part of Newcastle Castle. And it's one of the city towers that used to stand here, that used to surround the old town of Newcastle. This is as close as I can get because that is a walkway here, but it is all shrubbed over and there's no way I can get in down there. But I'm going to walk around it and see what I can see. This fence didn't used to be here either. I'm sure I might have a video of this, but I'll have to search my archives. Nature finds a way. It's a shame that the government and the city of Newcastle has let such history go into disrepair, and it does make me really sad. As you know, at one point they did care, as they created these beautiful walkways so you could get in, read about the history of the old Newcastle, but now it's just a ruin in amongst trees with a lot of nasty garbage. Alright, we're going to head back down to the quayside and then finish off this part of the video. A lot of stuff around here I'm going to leave for the Newcastle Series 2 once I've finished with the Tyne. So I'm not going to go into too much history just around here. We're almost back on the quayside. Now I'm going to nip into this Tesco's. You remember that church? Little cat cafe, so if you like cats, get yourself down there. Alright, I'm going to be ending this walk off just down and around the corner, and the video after that will continue down the Tyne. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video from St. Peter's to the Quayside, and I look forward to the next video. I'll see you then. Bye for now.